Imagine waking up one morning to find that your world is at war. Not a war in some distant land, but right here, everywhere. The entire planet is tearing itself apart. This isn't a movie. This was the reality of World War II. A global storm of fire, shadow, and courage that reshaped borders, destroyed empires, and forever redefined what it means to be human. But the question we rarely ask is, how did it all collapse so fast? Could it have been stopped? To understand the storm, we have to rewind to the ashes of the Great War, World War I. Germany lay defeated and humiliated, crushed by the harsh punishments of the Treaty of Versailles. Its economy was shattered. Its people were desperate and angry. And in times like these, people look for someone to blame and someone to follow. And then, a man stepped forward whose words could ignite the world. A failed artist turned dictator, Adolf Hitler, who promised to restore Germany's glory, to give the people a new sense of pride and a clear enemy. Across the globe, other dark figures were rising to power. Benito Mussolini in Italy with his vision of a new Roman Empire. Militarist generals in Japan dreaming of an empire that spanned the Pacific. And in the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin was tightening his iron grip, purging anyone who stood in his way. The world didn't see it yet, but these leaders were quietly assembling the pieces of the deadliest conflict humanity would ever face. And it all began with one single invasion. September 1st, 1939. Lightning struck. Germany invaded Poland with a terrifying new kind of warfare. Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. Tanks rolled forward like iron dragons, planes dropped bombs that fell like fiery stars, and entire cities vanished almost overnight. The world watched in horror. 2 days later, Britain and France, honoring their promise to Poland, declared war on Germany. The Second World War had officially begun, but Hitler wasn't stopping at Poland. His eyes were set on a much bigger prize, all of Europe. In the months that followed, country after country fell. Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and then, in a shocking turn of events, France. The speed of the German war machine was breathtaking and terrifying. It seemed utterly unstoppable, with most of continental Europe under Nazi control. Only one major nation remained standing between Hitler and total domination of the West: Great Britain. The fight for Europe's future was about to take to the skies. The Battle of Britain wasn't fought on land with soldiers and trenches. It raged in the air, a deadly dance between British and German fighter pilots. Every night, London and cities across England burned under the relentless bombing campaign known as the Blitz. Families huddled in underground shelters, their hearts pounding with every explosion, praying the next bomb wouldn't be their last. The courage of the Royal Air Force and the resilience of the British people became a beacon of hope. In a world consumed by darkness, while Europe burned, another storm was gathering on the other side of the world, in the Pacific. The Empire of Japan, driven by its own imperial ambitions, sought to expand its control across Asia and the Pacific Ocean. Standing in its way was the United States, with its territories and naval fleet spread across the very same ocean. Tensions mounted, negotiations failed, and the world held its breath. Then, on a quiet Sunday morning, everything changed forever. December 7th, 1941. Without a declaration of war, Japanese forces launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. In less than 2 hours, the heart of the U.S. Pacific Fleet was crippled. The attack was a stunning blow, but it had an unintended consequence. It woke a sleeping giant. America was now in the war, fully awake to the global storm. The conflict was now truly a world war, with the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union aligned as the Allied powers. The tide slowly began to shift. In the east, the seemingly invincible German army was pushing deep into the Soviet Union. They reached the city of Stalingrad, a battle that would become one of the most brutal and decisive of the entire war. For months, soldiers fought street by street, building by building, in a city of nearly 2 million people that was turned into a frozen, blood-soaked ruin. The Soviet victory at Stalingrad came at an unimaginable cost, but it halted the Nazi advance. For the first time, hope flickered in the ashes. In the Pacific, the U.S. Navy, having rebuilt with incredible speed, turned the tide at the Battle of Midway. Through brilliant intelligence and sheer courage, they struck back against the Japanese fleet, scoring a decisive victory that changed the course of the war in the Pacific. If you're enjoying this journey through history, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. But World War II wasn't just fought on battlefields. It crept into villages, forests, and camps, revealing a darkness humanity is still trying to comprehend: the Holocaust. 6 million Jewish men, women, and children were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime, alongside millions of others: Poles, Romani people, political prisoners, and more. It is a chapter so grim, so horrific, that its shadow stretches over history to this day, a permanent reminder of where hatred can lead. By 1944, the Allies were ready to open a new front in Europe. June 6, 1944, the largest amphibious invasion in history. Over 150,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy in France. Courage blazed like dragons in the dawn mist as soldiers faced a wall of machine gun fire to secure a foothold in Nazi-occupied Europe. The beginning of the end had arrived. By May of 1945, with Allied forces closing in from the west and the Soviets from the east, Hitler was dead. Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over. But across the Pacific, the storm was not yet over. Despite the defeat of its allies, Japan refused to surrender. Its leaders vowed to fight to the last man, woman, and child. Faced with the prospect of an invasion that could cost millions of lives on both sides, the United States made a choice that would change the world forever. On August 6th and 9th, 1945, American bombers dropped two atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In an instant, the cities vanished in a blinding flash of light and a terrifying mushroom cloud. Humanity had unlocked a destructive power it could never take back. Days later, facing this unimaginable devastation, Japan surrendered. World War II was finally over. When the smoke cleared, the scale of the destruction was staggering. Over 70 million lives were lost. The world was traumatized, reshaped, and forced to rebuild from the ground up. From these ashes rose new global institutions like the United Nations, created with the hope of preventing future wars. But the world also split into two, ushering in the Cold War between the superpowers of the United States and the Soviet Union. World War II wasn't just a war, it was a turning point for humanity, a warning etched in history